Hey guys, taking you for a drive in Palm Beach County. This is Palm Beach, home of Mar-A-Lago, which is right up the road here, which is President Donald Trump's resort, which I guess really now Palm Beach is known for the most because he's currently in office. But either way, it's a beautiful, and there's a little road closure here because I believe he's in town today. So that's the road closure that you get, because right down that road is Mar-A-Lago. So there may be a little bit detour here, and there is a detour. But when he's not in town, that road is open. That's Highway A1A, and Mar-A-Lago is right off it. And there's just like a big gate with like these bushes around it. But it's a beautiful day here in South Florida, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And just taking you for a drive. I was hoping to drive along the ocean there, but being that the president is in town, I'm going to have to take a detour. But I'll let this run. And just say that, when you live on the road, when you live as a nomad, you have to deal with a little bit of extra frustration. Because when you go to different towns, even if you've been to that town, what you have to account for is what you're not normally used to. So, detours. The stores are not as familiar. I was just crossing a bridge, and the lady was taking her time in front of me, and she caused us to have to wait for the drawbridge to open and close. And that little extra frustration added on to the fact that your mind is working extra hard to adapt to a new town, even if you've been to the town quite a bit. It's just the constant adaptation, the constant calculation that your mind is doing because you're in a new environment. When you're in a new environment, your mind is processing information at a rapid rate, at an intense rate, because it's trying to understand its surroundings and form the best decision. Your mind is a computer processor. It's taking data, it's acquiring data, it's processing it, and then it's trying to form a decision so that you can, go in a certain direction. And when you're in the same town, when you're in the same environment for a long period of time, the mind doesn't have to work as intense because a lot of the calculations the data is preloaded. You know the streets, you know the area, you know the ins and outs, you know the stores, you know the type of culture. So the mind isn't working as hard. But the newer surrounding, the mind is working more intense, and it adds to a level of frustration. And that's why many people resist that change, or many people may not be good as a nomad. We're going to head back to the beach here. Many people may not be as good as a nomad because there's a lot of adapting. And adapting is the mind working a little bit more intense, calculating decisions. And to the left here is like a little beach patrol people that, like, if you got a parking violation, whatever it may be, parking enforcement. So, that's something you have to consider in life is, are you willing to do a little bit more mental intensity? Because that's what a nomad adapting to a new environment is doing. And that is the Atlantic Ocean on a beautiful 78 degree Fahrenheit day in the gorgeous South Florida on a permanent vacation. Tropical colors, tropical environment, Palm Beach, South Florida, gorgeous. I don't know why you'd want to live anywhere else. And if you are, sell your house immediately and get down here. But only if you're willing for the mind to intensely calculate your new environment. And that's why many people don't move. Many people don't change their house. They don't downsize. They don't change states. They like the idea of it. But their mind begins to take the pain of the fury of calculating a new environment, of new frustrations, and it's overwhelming. But, if you could push past it, it's very rewarding as well. A lot of risk comes with a lot of reward, a lot of intensity comes with a lot of pleasure. So for me, there's also pleasure in seeing different things and moving freely and being in great environments and having that, just having that lifestyle. And that's what it is. It's a nomad lifestyle. And these palm trees and this environment is gorgeous, but, you know, if you're not here every day, even if you're 20 minutes away from here and you come here, you're going to have a little bit of frustration because your mind is calculating all these different nuances. Like, here's a person with a flag on the back of their thing, riding in the middle of the street. Got to calculate for that, okay? But either way, gorgeous day. Some thoughts on being a nomad, some thoughts on change, some thoughts on the mind. When the mind has to adapt to a new environment, it's calculating at a fast rate. It's causing a little bit of anguish, a little bit of frustration because of that recalculation. When the mind is in a familiar environment, there's not as many calculations because the data is already pre-inputted. So make a mental note of that. Be aware. Self-awareness is good. And then keep growing, keep adapting, because that's what life's about. Not easy, but if you can do it, do it. And if you can't, then have a stable environment. Everyone's different. Love and respect. Stay inspired. And stay in South Florida, in my opinion. Do what you want, and God bless.